item to go to Board of Education order, please. Roll call.
Mr. Sappa?
Here.
Mrs. Gillis? Here. Mr. Kamikar? Mr. Yacobozi?
Here. Mr. Ringel's going to be late. Okay, I'd like to open up nominations for the presidency for the 2017-18 school year. So anybody want to make a nomination, fire away. Yeah.
Ron?
You nominated me?
Yes, President.
Okay. Any other nominations? If not, entertain a motion to close nominations.
I'll nominate Mark.
You nominate Mark as president? Okay. All right. Any more? If not, entertain a motion to close nominations.
I'll make that motion.
First, second, we have a second. Close nominations.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call.
I just want a question.
Can. What do you want to do?
You said discussion.
Be a little more prompt. I'm closing nominations. I'm going to be quicker than you are. Let's go. What do you got?
I just wanted to see if there was an opportunity to, I know Rex and Ron have been on the president board, nothing against you guys personal, but if there's an opportunity to have two new people be president, vice president, say like Teresa and Mark, either one, without Ron or Rex being on the board, on president or vice president at the same time, if that's an opportunity. Nothing against you, nothing against Rick.
It's strictly the board's pleasure.
So I just wanted to ask if that's an opportunity to do that moving forward.
Okay. We have motions on the floor. That is a board preference, whatever the board chooses to do. Opportunity, yes, but it's a board preference.
Okay.
So we have a motion, and a second to close. Any more discussion? If not, roll call to close nominations.
Okay, this is to close
To
nominations.
close nominations.
Mrs. Gillis? Mr. Kamikar? This is just to close the
To
nominations.
close,
To close, it's not a vote.
No.
No.
Aye.
Mr. Sappa?
Aye.
Mr. Yacobozi?
Aye. Now entertain a vote now. Now
what
you can take the vote.
I'll take the vote separately. I'll take a vote, a roll call, verbal vote for Mr. Yacobozi, and then I'll take a roll call, verbal vote for Mark, Mr. Sappa, and then the outcome determines the
Right.
president. Okay, the roll call vote
I-
for,
But
I have a question.
sure,
Okay, so we're doing this, but we're doing it without Rex.
yes,
Yes.
he's here.
unfortunately, he's not here.
Roll call vote for Mr. Yacobozi. Okay, Mr. Kamikar,
No.
Mrs. Gillis,
Yes.
Mr. Sappa,
Yes.
I don't
and
have to abstain, so I can vote yes.
you can vote for yourself for
Correct.
this nomination.
Can.
The only one you can is the JVS board. You can't vote for yourself for the member who's voting for
That's
the
appointment.
JVS
That's
appointment. Right. Okay. Now we'll do the roll call vote for Mr. Sappa. Mr. Yacobozi.
What if we all vote yes? I'm just asking a
Well,
question. We've never done this before.
And then you go to a consensus
Then
meeting.
you flip a meeting, flip a coin.
Do a consensus meeting.
I'm just asking here.
I'll make this easy since you nominated me. No.
Mrs. Gillis.
No.
Mr. Kamikar
Yes.
and Mr. Sappa. Okay. Mr. Yacobozi, you are president
Yes.
of Amherst Board of Education for 2017.
I'd like to open up nominations for vice president. I'll nominate Mark Zappa. Any other nominations?
Mark,
Mark's Rex.
Can't nominate somebody I've already nominated.
Too bad. I'll say yes.
Okay, I'll take a motion to close nominations. I think that all was, the vote was earlier done.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got to need a
I'll
motion to
close it.
close.
I'll make the
Close is
motion.
going to second. Close, okay. Any discussion? If not, roll call to close nominations only.
Mrs. Gillis.
Aye.
Mr. Sappa. Mr. Kamikar. Mr. Yacobozi.
Aye. Okay, take the vote for it, please.
Okay, roll call for Vice President Mark Zappa. Mrs. Gillis. Mr. Yakobozzi.
Aye.
Mr. Cannon. Mr. Zappa. Okay, Mr. Zappa, you are Amherst Board of Education Vice President for 2017. This time, I will
Just for the oath.
go take the oath of office.
Do you want to do it jointly?
Yes, yes, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Please stand up and raise your right hand. Mr. Ron Yakobozzi, Mr. Mark Zappa, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as Board President, Board Vice President in and for the said Amherst Exempted Village School District of Lorraine County, Ohio, to the best of your ability, and in accordance with the laws now in effect and hereafter to be enacted during your continuance in said office and until your successor is chosen and qualified. Okay. I'll give you to sign both sheets and get it back to you guys.
Okay. I'd like to set the dates, times, and locations for our board meetings for 2017. The location is here at the Creative Learning Center. And we have an attachment, I believe. Open it up. Okay. Which has all the dates for the meeting and the times already set on the attachment. Are there any adjustments to that? Keep in mind, we can adjust the meeting date throughout the year as long as proper notice has been given. Otherwise, this is what we would normally, what our expectation would be for 2017. Any changes to that? Not? I'll entertain a motion to accept
I'll make that motion.
regular board meetings as shown on the schedule. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Other stuff, comments? I agree with the dates, the days, the time, as everyone is aware that in the past, 4:30, I just think is too early for, I know it's our meeting, it's not for a public meeting, but I think it would be beneficial reaching out to the community and having it at a later time, especially after what they did for us and voted for the levy. I think that'd be a nice gesture to have it at a later time. And if there's any opportunity, project manager, construction, anything coming up with all the building we're doing, if you guys have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm as willing to
That's
help.
not part of what we're talking about. Talking about times and dates of meetings and location.
Okay, what about, what should I talk
We're
about?
not, well, now when we get to it, we're not there yet.
Okay, we'll hold that there. So I agree with the date and time, date and days, location, and not the times for that reason.
Any further discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. Gillis.
Aye.
Mr. Sappa.
Aye.
Mr. Kamnikar.
No.
Mr. Yakobozzi.
Aye. Appointment for administrative standing committees, again, part of our attachment. I'll entertain a motion to accept the administrative standing committees as presented. Is there a motion on the floor?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? Any discussion?
Yeah, I just want to, if I can now.
Now you can.
Just, that's what I do for a living, want to help the district as much as I can with the construction, so please feel free to reach out to me anytime. Feel free.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. Gillis.
Aye.
Mr. Kamnikar.
On the administration?
Talk about standing committees.
Aye.
Mr. Sappa.
Aye.
Mr. Yakobozzi.
Aye. Treasurer's recommendations. Barb, you want to go through any of those?
These are a pretty, the standing things we do every year for the organizational meeting, and of course, the board knows this is the time you place your attorneys in place, and you'll see multiple attorneys. And this is for, just because attorneys specialize in different things. So these are the board's attorneys, and of course, the board fund, and we have the tax budget. Today we had our hearing, and nobody come and viewed that tax budget, but it was in your notes, and you could review it. But those are all the treasurer's items. I'd recommend treasurer's recommendations 8A through 8E.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Kamikar?
Aye.
Mrs. Gillis?
Aye.
Mr. Sappa?
Aye.
Mr. Yakubowski?
Aye. Item 9.
Yes, these are just
Steve.
items, again,
Okay.
that you see every year, and these are the same as what you've seen previously. I know the board had an opportunity to review these, and this time I'd like to recommend approval items 9A through 9B.
Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Is there a second? Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Gillis?
Aye.
Mr. Kamikar?
Aye.
Mr. Sappa? Mr. Yakubowski?
Aye. Anything else?
No.
Anything else, Barb? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Gillis?
Aye.
Mr. Kamikar?
Aye.
Mr. Sappa?
Aye.
Mr. Yakubowski?
Aye.
Time out 4:43.
Whenever you're ready, Barb. Okay, I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Amherst Board of Education to order, please. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Barb.
Mrs. Gillis? Mr. Kamikar?
Aye.
Mr. Sappa? Mr. Yakubowski?
Here. I'd like to entertain a motion to accept the agenda as presented, including any and all addendums.
Yes, on the addendum as we were,
Before you do that, let's get the motion.
yeah, sorry,
Is there a motion?
Yeah.
Is there a second?
second.
Now discussion.
Okay. On the agenda, you'll see a change from today, just simply because we had Char Baruz, did I say that right, on an item under letter N. She brought a letter in to resign today at 4 o'clock, so we moved her up under letter B, I believe it was. And your letter N is now removed from the agenda,
Letter N is removed. Okay.
under personnel.
Anything else, Barb?
And that's all that I'm aware of.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Sappa?
Aye.
Mrs. Gillis? Mr. Kamikar? Mr. Yakubowski?
Aye. Good news report.
Sarah, it's all yours.
It's all ours. Well, it's all ours. It's all ours. Look, our preschool friends hiding in the back. Come on up front. All of you, everyone, come on, friends. We're all friends here. I'm so excited to be able to present this to you guys today. And just want to say thank you, members of the board, Mr. Sayers. I present to you our Little Comets preschool staff. And I believe they have some friends here in the audience too who are actual little comets. But before we get started, I just want to introduce them because it's their energy, it's their creativity, it's their dedication that has really moved our preschool program into what you see here in the slides. We've got tons of things going on that I will let Ms. Kendrick talk about. But before I do that, we've got our intervention specialists. We've got Ms. Jody Majors. We've got Julie Swift as one of our aides. Callie Van is another one of our preschool intervention specialists. Rebecca Nielsen also. Ember Kacharik is one of our aides. We've got Beth Narrow is one of our preschool intervention specialists who joined us tail end of last year and then throughout this year. And then we've got Julie Peltz, who is also one of our aides. And then at the very end, who needs to come up front and join me, we've got Miss Lori Kendrick, who has the dual role of being not only our preschool school psychologist, but also being our preschool coordinator. And she's going to tell you a little bit about the program that brought us here today.
Yes.
There. But I wanted to thank Mr. Sayers and the Board of Education for having us here today. Thank you for my staff for being here and some of our parents and our students. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what preschool's been up to and Step Up to Quality. As you know, we are a licensed preschool, and we do meet the requirements for health and safety. But there's also something called Step Up to Quality, which is Ohio's quality rating and improvement system. And Step Up to Quality is a joint effort between the Ohio Department of Jobs and Family Services and Ohio Department of Education. And it's for a 5-star tiered system to recognize and promote quality preschool programs that go above and beyond the basic licensing for health and safety. The Step Up to Quality standards are kind of like a rubric and are divided into 4 different domains. There's learning and development, which covers things like curriculum, assessment, and the classroom environment. Administrative leadership practices, staff support and administration. Staff qualifications and professional development. Family and community partnerships. And then there are extra points given for staff and child ratio and class size. Preschool's been always very near and dear to my heart. So I've really appreciated all the years in preschool, seeing how the program has expanded and the requirements have expanded, and I think this is a really good thing. The 5-star system goes from a 1-star being the lowest and the 5-star being the highest. Anyway, programs started being phased into this Step Up to Quality about 3 years ago. 3 to 4 years ago, in different waves. They couldn't get across and get them all, rated at the same time. Anyway, last year, Amherst was notified that our preschool would have the opportunity to do our registration for our rating. And that was really a 2-part process, because the first part of the process was kind of a desk review. We had to compile all of the information for those different domains and upload documents and evidence for a desk review, and we created a binder with all of that. The next step was an on-site verification, which occurred in September, and they also did some staff interviews with that. It was a pretty hectic day because it was unannounced, so scramble and get there and do what we need to do. But it definitely was a group effort. The teachers helped get all this ready, the aides, even the central staff. I needed some, documentation that we needed to upload. And the process for, the quality rating and the improvement system, it doesn't end with just, applying for your rating and getting that. It's an ongoing process. We collect evidence, we review, we revise what we do so that we're always getting better. Some of the Step Up to Quality activities that maybe you've seen us doing to try to improve ourselves. We did get a new curriculum, and it's aligned to the early learning content standards, and it also has a technical component, and parents can access some activities at home, which again provides that family component as well. This year we also incorporated more professional development, not only the teachers, but also the aides, and they're getting 20 hours every 2 years in various topics of child development and learning. We did more family involvement. Thanks to our families there, we were in the homecoming parade the last couple years. We did some field trips to Apple Hill, and then we've had some special visitors and assemblies in our program. We've done some things with the 5th and 6th graders too. We had a great Halloween parade and Halloween party with them. They like to come down and help and be involved too. We have a more formalized screening process. All the students need to be screened within the first 60 days of school. And we also have the early learning assessment. If you've heard of the KRA that the kindergarten students do for preschool, it's the early learning assessment, which is given 2 times a year. It's a more formative assessment where with preschoolers, you can't just give a test. We have to observe different behaviors in that natural situation. And for Step Up to Quality, there are more skills that they have to observe and evaluate and document twice a year. We have PTO is quite involved, a little bit more each year. Appreciate that and the things that they do for us. In the spring, we do a transition visit to Powers in kindergarten. We updated our handbook, and there's more resources in there for families and the community. And I believe they updated the report card so that it's kind of corresponding with the early learning content standards and some of the assessments. But I have to say, hardest working staff I have ever seen to make all this happen and to make our preschool as great as it is for our students, for our families, and our community. They've done a really, really good job, and it's a team effort, it really is. So thank you.
Well, and along with that, I'm very excited to share, Mike, if you'd like to pick up a banner, because he's tall and I'm not as tall. We did achieve a 5-star rating. Our Little Comets preschool was one of 6 preschools in Lorain, Erie, and Huron County. So only 6 preschools in 3 counties earned the 5-star rating, and we were one of them. So we are so excited.
It's no easy feat.
No. So thank you,
We've
everyone.
got a lot of good things
Thank
in
you,
place.
guys.
Thank you
We're
very much.
really looking forward to what's up next.
Lori, Sarah, thank you
Oh,
both.
wait. I'm so sorry. This is totally my fault. We do have something from the Nord PTO.
Yes. I'm Sarah Yoder. I'm the preschool liaison for Nord PTO, and we just want, as part of Nord PTO, to say congratulations. And we got these shirts for you guys. They say Little Comets preschool and then 5-star rated on there. There's 5 stars on there. Thank you.
Thank you all, very good. I hear so much about preschool, believe me. All good stuff.
I bet you do.
Oh, yeah.
I bet you do.
Oh, yeah, believe me, every day. Okay. Okay, the next part of our agenda is the hearing of the public. The public participation section of the Board of Education's agenda is specifically designed for the public to address the board with their compliments and or concerns. The board welcomes and appreciates your comments. If you wish to address the board representing a problem or regarding a problem, please consider the following. First, your comments should be factual and representative and respectful of the rights of others. Second, before addressing the board with a specific problem, it is the board's hope that you will have first addressed the problem with the appropriate teacher, staff member, or administrator. The individual statement should not exceed 5 minutes, and this total time will be 30 minutes. And if anybody does want to address the board, we have a sign-up sheet, which nobody did, so I'm assuming nobody wants to address the board. So, okay? Thank you. Treasurer's report.
Oh, I have just very little but big to report. We finalized our first live payroll. Yesterday was Munis and our direct deposit went out, so everybody should have their checks tomorrow. Yay! We were kind of worried. We ran into a few things through the transition. We thought we were going to be live financial and payroll, both the 3rd of January when we returned. There was a few hiccups with getting the budgets in, so we were able to get through payroll, but we haven't finalized payroll yet because our data is being entered as we speak. The live final data should be in by tomorrow morning, and we should be good to go. Real pleased with the outcome of it, and hopefully things will settle down so I can kick up to move forward with the other things. But the other things, being part of some of my items tonight for the agenda, of course, you know we have our routine items on there, but you see that I've asked the board to establish a handful of new funds, and that's for our bond. You'll see that part of it is the state share, part of it is the local share, and then we have to track interest separate for state and local, so I have those separate funds. We are required to have an 034 fund for the maintenance that's required when you pass a bond issue. And then we have our local funding initiatives. That was our part of the bond that passed that we're doing the HVAC and stuff with. So those are in the 004. So I'm asking the board to establish those funds for that purpose. And also along with that same note, you'll see on the treasurers, I'm asking you to renew the second resolution to our levy renewal. The board approved the first one in December. sent it to the county auditor for the certification, got it back, and this is the second resolution, and I can file it for the May elections. I'm also asking the board to go ahead and approve the resolution for another note issuance. In January, our first note issuance closed December 28th, and it was for $8,450,000. This note will be for $9,050,000, and we'll do that sometime in January, but this is just laying the groundwork for that note. Then we will bring back to you more with the bond issue as it comes closer. We have a schedule set up to interview underwriters / investment banks for the bond, and that's taking place January 17th and 18th. And as the board knows, we're preparing an official statement so we can do a rating presentation in New York City. So we'll explain more to you on that. But those are the items, and of course, I always like to talk about the donations that we've received because we appreciate it. We received $250 from Mr. and Mrs. Robert Rose to Jean Kabuski Scholarship in memory of Carolyn Rose. And we also, Kim Haney received a $200 mini grant for medical health tech program. And we always tease Miss Haney and say she has to stop long enough for it to land in her lap. So she's very busy, very active, and we appreciate everything she does. So I would ask the board to approve the treasurer recommendations from 8A through 8I.
Is there a motion?
So,
Discussion?
I just have a question on Jean Kabuski. Was she the English teacher back in the 80s? Did anybody know? Remember?
Jean, she was English.
She was the one that died in that car.
Her and her daughter both
Okay.
killed, yes.
Yes. I just was curious. Sorry.
I believe that her husband recently passed away in the last year or 2 years. So now their son is making a scholarship presentation at our annual scholarship awards night, yes. Okay? David Conley,
Yes.
he's
he
involved
will-
now?
He will probably come and give the next presentation, laying out what is the steps for the bond process. So he has been working with me on setting up the interviews for the underwriter and all of that so far. And he was along with me all the way through the note issuance and everything there. The money is already invested, so.
Those of you who don't know, David Conley is an absolute expert at bond financing.
Yes, he's our municipal advisor. We used him as consulting to lay the groundwork for all of this the last couple of years. And the minute the levy approved, he switched over into the municipal advisor capacity so he could follow us through this process. And we're very pleased for that because he's a very limited office and he can only take on so many clients because there's just him and one other person. And we're very pleased that we have him as our advisor. He's been around in the field over 30 years, and he's been on the bond underwriting side of it as well as, he's been with different firms, and just like anything else, they move different firms just like everybody does. And David's been around a long time.
He's out of Cincinnati?
Yes.
Okay. And he does
Rock Mill.
He does evaluations on school districts throughout the entire state of Ohio, all 688 of us. He's probably evaluated all of them at some point. When we first talked with David, for those of you who don't know, he rated our school district in the top 5% in the state as far as our financial strength and the overall wellness of our district, which he said is very unusual, which is why this bond issue we're coming forth with now, I guess one reason why it passed is because of our financial strength, but we have some real opportunity here to get these bonds issued at a very good rate, hopefully, as long as our bond presentation goes well in New York, which will be probably in March or April.
Talking early March, mid-March right now, and it is something that I call is cost of doing business, and you have to do it because if you can get your bond rating to move one rate for the life of our loan for the bonds and the amount that we are financing would be probably close on to $700,000 savings to the district. So you have to do these different things to save the district money, and we look all of them, and we're going to put our best effort forward for this.
What that 5% equates to, top 5% out of 688 districts, we're somewhere in that top 34 districts in the entire state. It's pretty darn good. A lot of districts in this area can't say that. I don't think any of them can. So we try,
We're
but,
very proud.
okay. Thanks, Barb. We have a motion and a second on the floor.
Yeah. Mr.
Any
Zappa?
more discussion?
Oh, sorry.
Roll call.
Mr. Zappa? Mrs. Gillis? Mr. Kamikar? Mr. Yakubowski?
Aye. Superintendent, Mr. Sayers.
Yes, thank you very much. And as the board may or may not be aware, January is School Board Recognition Month. And we'd like to take just a couple of minutes to say thank you and present you with a certificate of appreciation on behalf of our students, our staff, and our community for the job that you do and your willingness to give your time and talents to serve our schools and community. So I'd like to thank you. And first we'll start with Teresa Gillis. Teresa. And Todd Kamikar. Brian Yakubowski.
Oh, Steve.
And Mark Zapp.
Thank you.
Mark, thank you.
Got 39 of those now, Steve.
Is that what it is, 39? I thought it was
Started
38.
this month, 39 years.
Wallpaper you did?
Wallpaper my dad,
Just a couple of other things while we're here to update the board on. Barb and I are currently working on updating our 5-year financial forecast that will take into account our savings as a result of the consolidation as we prepare for next year and beyond. And we're hoping to bring you a revised forecast at our February board meeting. So that'll reflect the savings as a result of moving from 5 buildings to 4. But we're in the midst of that process, and we've actually already started the staffing process and have made some staffing moves as of the last couple of weeks here. So I wanted the board to be aware of that. A couple of other things. State of the Schools, we have set that date and time. That is scheduled for, I think it's a Wednesday, April 4th, 6:30 in our high school cafetorium. And that would be very similar to what we did last year, maybe a 20 to 30 minute presentation, and then of course an opportunity for question and answer. Again, April 4th, 6:30 in our high school cafetorium. And actually as a follow-up to that meeting, we're going to schedule some individual parent meetings for Amherst Junior High School and Nord. Those dates haven't been established yet. But those are our 2 buildings that will be most impacted by the consolidation, with the junior high becoming a 6-8 building, and then of course Nord becoming a 3-5 building. So once those dates are established, we'll make sure we publicize those, and that will be an opportunity for our principals to share a little bit about the transition and changes and schedules and routines and those kinds of things, and how they may be a little bit different next year compared to what they currently are. So we'll have those meetings. They'll probably be scheduled in late April. And of course, once we have those dates, we'll publicize those.
What time is the state of schools?
6:30.
6:30.
April 4th is a Tuesday.
April? Okay, it must be, I know it's April 4th, so I was thinking it was Wednesday, but it's Tuesday. And I think it's right after spring break, if I remember. The spring break is that last week of March. So it is a Tuesday, it's my mistake.
I have another question for you.
Yes.
Have we made any arrangements to do a joint meeting with the city?
Personally, I haven't done that, but we are in the process of trying to set up a meeting as part of this kind of construction project where John Mazie and
Okay.
myself will meet with the mayor,
Okay.
and I was hoping to bring that up at that point in time.
Okay.
That meeting should happen before the end of the month.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll talk about, of course, the city and the schools working together.
I
as
just
we
don't want to forget.
work our way through
Okay.
that process.
Okay.
Great.
Yes, I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
And then,
Go ahead.
and then just one last thing is we may have need for a special meeting before our February, I think it's 27th meeting. Actually, we just received this afternoon the finalized project agreement from the Ohio School Facilities Commission. It's a 10-page document, and Barb and I did not feel comfortable just putting that on this agenda without you having that ahead of time and being able to review that. We checked, and they said there's no urgency with that. to just get it back at our earliest convenience. But by the same token, they did indicate that they cannot send us state funds until that document is actually board approved and submitted. So, I mean, there's not a sense of urgency, but also at the same time, I don't know that we want to wait all the way until the end of February. So Barbara and I will kind of look and see what we've got going here these next, 2 or 3 weeks as far as other agenda items. No need to set a date at this point in time, but I wanted to let everyone know that there is a possibility that late January, maybe early February, we might want to have a meeting. That's a big item, obviously.
Yeah.
And they can't, funds cannot flow from Columbus to Amherst until that document's approved. And at the same time, like I said, we didn't feel comfortable including it on the agenda, with obviously the short time frame. So that completes my report.
Any questions for Steve? Yes. Barb, we issued the 2 notes.
We issued notes for the tax anticipation,
Yes.
and we issued notes for the bond.
So that, did you say we had that money already, it's invested? Now, you said this OF.
Those are local,
That's local money, this state money,
Right.
once we issue that, approve that 10-page document, are you saying they'll be able to start throwing money our way?
They will a percentage, but they won't until the project, they do it in segments. They'll give you so much, and then they won't until the project gets going and there's a need, and then they send it with state and local percentage, and we have to receipt it in and track it per such. We have our local funding initiative,
Right.
and that's what we did the notes on, or the local share. And then they have our local share of the OSFC project.
Right.
So we have 2 local shares, if
But
I may.
you'll be able to invest that money, right?
Yes.
And then the earnings, we keep it.
And that's why I said the earlier we can get whatever they're gonna give us, we
Right.
can utilize that.
Right.
So there is a little bit of urgency, and then if there's any site work preparation or architect or what have you, we have that on hand to pay those bills.
So you're reviewing the document now, and you're gonna get it to the board?
Yes, we actually just received it
Just
today.
received it
Okay.
today.
We were talking, about 2 o'clock this
Yeah.
afternoon, and Barb said, you see the email, and it just came in, so.
So we'll probably see it later this week.
Yeah, oh, yes.
All right, yes, okay.
And basically, it just formalizes
Right.
what we already know and what's already happened.
Some of the stuff we already talked about.
Right.
Any further questions for Steve? If not, Mr. Molnar.
Hi, just a few updates. First, many of you know, so we came in for the board meeting today, there were some bags in the back of the class, in the room here, and also some boxes in the active learning classroom. Tomorrow, we're going to be meeting with, I'm going to be meeting with the English Language Arts Committee to review English Language Arts materials for K-8. So 22 teachers are coming tomorrow. We're going to do 3 presentations from 3 different companies and have discussions. We'll be using this space here, the active learning classroom, and also in the collaboration rooms. So that will be for some teachers and intervention specialists to look at materials. As I mentioned earlier in the year, we're looking at English Language Arts for K-8 and science for high school. So it's a big day tomorrow. It should be really enjoyable. A lot of really great teachers involved in the committee. So we're really looking forward to it. At the high school, as you know, second semester started, and we're finishing up some items with the course of study guide for next school year. So we'll be looking at adding a couple of new classes here at the high school and making some changes. Along with that, there is an item on the agenda later in 12D, I believe it is, an MOU with LCCC. It's the partnership for the college credit program that we work with them very closely. So that's going to be renewed. The only change is in the past, districts are responsible for purchasing textbooks that we host here at the high school. And it's always been, the cost has always fluctuated depending on the course and what materials are needed for each class, and every year is different. I was on a task force with other curriculum directors in the county, talking about how we can change that fluctuation. It's really hard to kind of predict what we're going to be spending every year, especially because we have so many students taking classes here at high school. And they've changed it from just whatever the cost is to a flat rate per credit. So it's $25 per credit. So a 3-credit course, a 4-credit course is $7,500 to $100. Again, instead of maybe a $150 textbook, or you never know what the materials might be. So I think it was a good move, and so that's on the agenda for you to approve tonight. I look forward to next year working with them again. And just finally, one more thing for elementary. Steve has approved the kindergarten teachers next year to actually, the kindergarten school year starts a few days after the regular school year. And so where teachers prepare their rooms to get ready for kindergartners. Well, the kindergarten teachers have asked if they could use that time to invite parents to come in, bring their children, and do some of the assessments and screenings. Usually we wait till the school year starts to occur, which means we're losing instruction time with kindergartners because a lot of those kindergarten assessments, like probably the preschool assessments, are very individualized, take a lot of time. So I thought it was a great idea.
We want to do the same thing. We want to piggyback on
Okay,
that idea.
we'll talk later. So, a few other districts do the same thing, and I thought it was, we think it's a great move with kindergarten teachers. It's their time, they're already here, there's no additional cost, it's just they're using that time to, again, do it a little differently. And I think it's a great idea, and so they're working on that as well. And finally, just want to let you know that their website has been updated for the new dates and times and roles of the board. So, that's occurred. So if you would let Mr. Engel know, I'd be great.
You won't do no such thing.
And that's all I have.
Any questions for Mike?
Just a question regarding MOUs or important information. If it comes out, I know it comes out late, but I'm at a point where I'm in a job, I can't, view it as quick as some of you. This one I understood, I got it, and no problem voting on that. But in the future, if it's something that you can get out and let me know a little quicker where I have an opportunity to understand it, so I can make an educated vote on it, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. And the only reason it was late was because Cindy Kushner from LCCC sent it to us on Friday afternoon and said, oh, by the way, it has to be done, the board has to be approved by the board before February 1st. So this is the only meeting we have, so that's why it was on late. But
I understand. If it could be earlier, great. I just don't want to hold anything up about our
Yeah,
thing.
absolutely.
Thank you.
No problem.
Mike, we have 22 teachers here tomorrow in those 3 different presentations. How does that affect the remaining use of this Creative Learning Center? As far as, I'm sure, because there'll be someone up here talking, and I'm sure there are other presentations that go on here beside that. So how do we interact, or how does that affect the rest of the Creative Learning Center when you guys are here making some sort of presentation, which probably could be loud enough that everybody over there is going to hear it? I'm just curious.
Well, actually, it wouldn't stop anyone from using the other collaboration rooms or the open classroom. We've had all the spaces filled before with staff and students. You can imagine students are probably a little bit louder than staff. Where we have like Kim Haney doing presentations in here for CPR and so on. And because of the way that the space was built, and I think sound dampers up, right, Mark, they're up in the ceiling, you can have a presentation here, and it doesn't really affect anyone else. Plus the sound is brought through the speakers directly down onto the audience, so it's not really projecting out into the other spaces, so it actually works very well. If there are other classes in here, I will monitor and see how it goes, and I'll ask some questions, but I think it works perfectly.
Good. Thank you. Anything else for Mike? Mr. Engel's not here. Anything else, Steve? Nothing else, okay? What personnel recommendations, Steve?
Yes, and again, I know the board's had an opportunity to review the agenda items, and Barb has already mentioned, and it's been changed in Evernote. The change from Shar includes from RIF situation to a resignation. So you're aware of that, but at this time, I'd like to recommend approval of items 11A through 11M.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion for Bob, seconded by Mark. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Camden-Carr? Mr. Sappa? Mrs. Gillis? Mr. Yakobozzi?
Aye. Educational recommendations?
Yes, 4 items here. Just want to draw attention to one item. Mr. Walmart already spoke to item B, but I wanted to mention item C. As we look again at our transition into a consolidation from 5 to 4 buildings, our plan at this point is to not accept any new open enrollment students until we see how this transition is going to go. Obviously, some of our buildings are going to be very crowded over the next couple of years, but we still need this particular item approved because we want to retain or have the ability to retain open enrollment students who are already enrolled in the Amherst schools. So that's why we see the item on the agenda. Our goal is to extend the opportunity to students who are already here to stay here, again, if we have the space, but as far as new open enrollment, we're not looking to accept any of those. We are already getting phone calls in the board office, so we thought it'd be a good idea to get this on the agenda sooner rather than later, but I did want to clarify that item. With that, we'd like to recommend approval of items 12A through 12B.
We have a motion by Bob, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Question, Steve?
Yes.
The open enrollment, can you change gears when you so choose during the course of the year? If there is an opening and you want to
Yes.
fill it, you can do it. This is not something that you only do once a year. You have the ability to change that as you so.
Yeah, that's why we always say on a space available basis.
Okay, all right.
And all of our open enrollment students are approved on a year-to-year basis. We make it very clear that even though somebody may be in the district 1 year or 2 years, or even 5 or 6 years, there is no guarantee that all the approvals happen on a year-to-year basis.
All right. Any further questions?
Something new, I didn't know that.
What's that, open enrollment?
Yeah, I just thought once they were in there, right? I didn't know.
That's why I asked the question.
Oh, stop it. As soon as the camera's off, you're in trouble.
Okay. I can't help it. Any other questions? If not, roll call.
Mr. Candicar.
Aye.
Mrs. Gillis.
Aye.
Mr. Zappa.
Aye.
Mr. Yakubowski.
Aye. Get this recommendation, Steve?
Yes, and then just one item here. It's always kind of a nice thing. As we went through this particular project this last summer, actually the project came in a little bit under budget, which is always nice. I think it was like $341,000 was our estimated cost for construction of this space, and actually ended up about $6,000 less than that. So again, I know the exhibit outlines the changes there, so it's always nice to come back and report that things came in a little bit under budget. So I'd like to recommend approval by the 13A.
Your motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
I have a question. Are we all done with the lobbies?
Still some finishing touches.
Okay.
Yes.
I take it John's on that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, roll call.
Mr. Zappa.
Aye.
Mrs. Gillis.
Aye.
Mr. Candicar. Mr. Yakubowski.
Aye. I entertain a motion to go to executive session to discuss the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion. I've got to talk to Mark because my computer gets narrowed here for some reason, my iPad. Motion compensation of public employees.
This is great.
It's not my eyes, it's over my eyes.
So moved.
So this is not cut off.